Hello and welcome on in. Happy Tuesday. It's good to see everybody here. And welcome on into Zero Hour, where I, your host, Extra Zero, try to go through all the Transformers news that I find interesting about an hour or so. If you're watching me here live on YouTube, make sure you pop in to the live chat that's happening over there. Always like to highlight comments and make everybody in the audience part of the show. So if you are watching me live, make sure you pop in, drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you picked up anything cool this week. I always like to hear it. And if you're watching me here live, or if you're watching me on the replay, make sure you smash that like button. If you're not already, hopefully tonight's the night I earn your subscription. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, ring that notification bell. I've been a bit busy lately, been having some family stuff and some personal stuff going on. So some of the Thursday and the Saturday hangouts have just been, Thursday content and the Saturday hangouts, just trying to get those planned. You know, Lance and I have a couple planned pretty soon. We're going to be doing more Beast Wars tier lists. We're going to be doing more of the discussion episodes. And I've been straightening up some shelves so I can film a collection tour just for 2025. And we're looking forward to getting that out. So make sure to ring that notification bell so you can stay in the loop when I post that sort of content. Also, if you're interested in seeing bonus content, I do some gaming streams with some of my good friends from the Gronkin on Dogs podcast, Gronkin Gaming. We've got a channel, and check out my link tree, link in the description below, where you can find Gronk Squad. And every Friday, we're getting together and playing video games. Last week, we played Repo. This was a ton of fun. I played with my buddy Lethal Lightning, Mr. Mazza, the Cream NATO, and John Connors. We had a good time. Yes, I did the artwork for the banner. So we're going to be doing Repo and Schedule 1. And those are a lot of fun. They're very chaotic streams. So if you're into gaming streams, give us a sub over there and check it out, because I have a lot of fun hanging out with those guys. So before we get into it, before we see how everybody's doing tonight, we're going to start off with one of my favorite segments. The figure of the week. And this week's figure of the week is something a little bit different. It is Mainframe. And yes, this is not the one that came with the Titan arc. This is the Mainframe from the Dramatic Capture. Now, this is the same as Mainframe from the Titan class arc. However, it's in a Action Master accurate deco. And I like this one a lot. Still comes with Sky Spy. I don't know why I was tripping up on that name. So it comes with a Sky Spy, just like the original one with the arc. Transforms exactly the same into Teletron 1. It does not come with a weapon. Does not come with a little Action Master buddy. Does not come with the golden discs. I gave him the golden discs from the one with my arc. So I wanted this just because I wanted to have the character, and I just didn't want to have the arc broken up. I mean, you can kind of take them out of the arc if you so choose, but it doesn't look right. Now, interesting, this is the same like orange plastic as the arc. So if for whatever reason you wanted to, I don't know, break that set up and have the orange one from the arc, or maybe you do. Maybe you want to have the arc in its robot or ship mode, or you want to have like one as Teletron 1 and you want one to be the robot. I mean, you do you. It's your collection, and if you have multiples, then you have options. But this is a real simple transformation. I kind of like how this is like one of those figures that's kind of like on the Deluxe and Voyager kind of scale here. Real simple. And we finally have a good official Teletron 1. And doing it on the camera, I rushed a little bit. But this is pretty much the same as the one that comes with the arc, save for the fact it's got different readouts. So, and also you can see the blue feet there. The one that comes with the arc, it's got orange feet, so it matches a little bit better. But yeah, I really do enjoy this. I like the fact that you can get a, you get a spare. I just like having him in the bot mode. And it's really cool that we have a couple of Action Master homages now. We've got him and Jackpot, and I'd love to see a Bonsaitron and some of the other Action Masters. Like what was it? The one that I really liked as a kid was, I think, Gut Cruncher. Is that what it was? I gotta look that up. Gut Cruncher, yeah. So yeah, between him and Bonsaitron, I think that would be really cool. Be cool if they could also figure out, some ways to give them their weapons. And yeah, there's Gut Cruncher. I really liked this guy when I was a kid. I think I just really liked the fact that he was called Gut Cruncher. Had him and Skull Smasher. So yeah. I don't know. Is anybody else liking Action Master updates? Because again, it's cool to have transforming ones, and Jackpot came out really nice. I know it's a very niche thing. I was hoping Super 7 would do them. I think that's a missed opportunity with the reaction stuff. I think that they should just revisit Action Masters, especially with Best Action working with Hasbro. I think it would be really cool if they took some of the Mask team and did updated Action Masters. I think that would be a really cool way of getting that team to again, they're already working with Hasbro, so I think that would be a neat opportunity to get some Action Master updates and homages. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Is that something you'd be down for? Before we get into news, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. Let's check in with chat. We got Mega T-Rex Raw saying the hour is 0. Good to see you. And we've got Mario Roca hanging out saying, hi, once again. Hi, Mario. Hope you're having a good evening and glad to see you here. So we're going to kick things off with some convention news. We don't have any updates for TFCon Canada. Pretty much all caught up on that. But Botcon 2025 is right around the corner. That's going to be June, I believe, 11th and 12th in Fort Wayne. I'm sorry, June 13th through the 15th in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so they've got a couple of guests announced. They've got Michael Bell and Dan Gilvison. Michael Bell, needs no introduction. Some of the most prolific voices in G1: Prowl, Swoop, Scrapper, Brainstorm, Bombshell. Dan Gilvison, obviously, Bumblebee, Rollbar, Hotspot, Outback, Skids, Snapdragon, mostly known for Bumblebee. Also Spider-Man and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Yeah, Botcon's right around the corner. It's cool to see them getting some guests lined up. And they're also doing a custom class. And this is pretty cool. They're announcing, this looks to be it looks like they're doing a Blaster and Ravage. So I guess they're using those 40th anniversary ones. I don't know where the Ravage came from. And then they're also doing a Bombshell. So, and these are the G1 figures. So it's really curious. That one's $90 and the other one is $99.95. So yeah, I'm going to be really curious to see what these are supposed to be. Now, these are very limited. It's not like the TFCon, the Blaster one's limited to 35 people, as is Bombshell. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what the actual reveals are. If you're like my buddy Lance, you're not going to adhere to what the class is supposed to be. You probably will do your own thing. But yeah, I'm just curious what these are intended to be. So, again, June will be here before we know it. We'll also be talking a little bit more about Spectre General when we get to the third-party stuff. That's their one exclusive so far that they've revealed. And Mario, I'll be talking about that. I've got some white pills to hand out on that. I think we're going to be seeing some relief soon. And after I do third-party news, I'm actually going to a bit of a discussion about the tariffs, because I've got a lot of thoughts, and I'm starting to see some positive things in the news, and we'll be talking about that. So I think things are going to get figured out pretty quickly. Kicking things off first. Now, we've already seen this figure. And this is Vortex, and there's some behind the scenes that Mark Clonas did. If you don't follow Mark Clonas over on Instagram, you really should. He does amazing behind the scenes pieces for the figures that are coming out. I really love the fact that, we've got somebody involved in the design phase of Transformers that's a huge, massive fan and is really involved with the community. There's details in here. He's really talking about like how the propellers on a 5mm post, and the weapons, and how you can slide the backpack and give it a cleaner look. But what makes this one interesting is showing the cross compatibility. So he's already got Silverbolt, which I know some people in the world have, like Toys R Us, RUSS, over on YouTube. He's already got his Silverbolt. So this is interesting to see that they're able to I'm assuming you'd be able to slip this on to Motormaster Menasor as well, or I guess it would be Menasor, because he's supposed to go on Onslaught. So there's some good cross compatibility there, and there's some design photos there. But cool to see. And for a lot of people wanting to see if they can do the Scramble City thing, they kind of can't, because the arms can't become legs and the legs can't become arms. I was talking to some friends. We've got a group chat, and I think the reason why this does work, I know a lot of people don't like this design because, like, hey, you're just slapping the vehicles onto a limb. The Constructicons don't have that. Like, you can't do that skeleton. So it's a trade-off, right? Because you get good vehicle modes, you get good robot modes, but you don't have to worry about compressing a ratchet. And you also don't have two individual legs forming the joint. So you don't get that gap. So I think it's an okay enough trade-off, in my opinion, to just have that ratchet there and not have that breakup. I kind of wish they could fill something in here, like have like a piece of plastic that goes in there that kind of hides the breakup of the joint a little bit more. But honestly, I'm okay with this, and I hope that the skeleton they do for Onslaught is a little bit beefier, so it looks like it's filled in a little bit more. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think this is a improvement from Combiner Wars. And it's just interesting too. I know there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, well, Combiner Wars was fine. But then when you see the side by sides, you're like, oh no, they're not. So yeah, there's that. Catching up on chat. We got Mazza in here trolling me, said, nah, you old bro. Are you supposed to be playing the Oblivion remaster? Did you get bored already? I thought you were streaming that. I made your intro and you quit out already. We got Princeton hanging out. Good to see you, Princeton. And we've got Aquatechy in here saying good evening. Good to see you as well. So here's some news Princeton will love. We've got our first look at the NFL Transformers crossover. And these are unexpected for a couple of reasons. I wasn't expecting them to just kick it off, no pun intended, with 4 teams. You've got the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Steelers. I know Princeton's really happy about his Cowboys getting represented. It's to the point where our good friend Deluxe is not happy about it. No, I feel like he's due for one. I feel like he needs to have the Cowboys figure in his collection. I'll show that in just a second. But see if I can get that picture. There we go. But these are going to be $25 a piece, so they're kind of deluxe price. I was expecting most of the collaborations, even if they're like deluxe size, they get marked up, and I'm glad to see it. The price of stuff is going up a bit, but these are up on Amazon. It looks like they're coming out in December. Granted, again, they're saying they're coming out in December, but this is Hasbro we're dealing with, so they'll probably be coming out in October, September. And I think that would be for the best. They get these out right at the start of the season. I think that's pretty cool. And Apoteki says, I'm in if they make one for the Ravens. I know a lot of people in my circle who will be. And honestly, if they did do a Ravens one, I might pick that up. I'm in the Baltimore area. So, even though I'm not like a big football fan, at all. If they got into baseball and they did an Orioles one, I'd be definitely interested. But these are all getting like actual names as well. So the Kansas City Chiefs robots KC-59, the Cowboys is Star Blitz, the Steelers is Steel Smash, and the Packers is Tundra Prime. Let's get a look at these guys. So there they are. They pose pretty well. They can actually, they all come with a football that I guess has a 5mm port on it. You can get them in. Well, actually, I guess it's got a 5mm port, not a peg. Because you see the 5mm ports on the side of the hamster. I guess that's a 3mm port, not a 5. And here they are doing the reveal. You get an idea. They look like souvenir helmets, which I think is pretty cool. And again, about kind of big deluxe sizes. So for these to be $25 at a regular deluxe price, and I'm not seeing like a ton of waffles. I mean, these are looking pretty good. I think these will sell pretty well because you got a lot of people who, are football fans. They like the NFL robot. I think it's kind of a good idea to use like the same body type with them. I think it's cool too that they all have removable helmets on their heads too. And, despite the fact that they're licensed, like they're not that expensive, which is it's just kind of mind blowing. And I know there's probably a lot of like fans out there that are Transformers and football fans. I know several that'll probably want to pick multiples of these up. There's probably some fanatics out there hoping that they're going to do all the teams. And like I said, I think these look pretty good, and I think it's just kind of a really cool concept. It's one of those things where you're surprised that they didn't do it sooner. So, and I'm also kind of curious, like, are they going to make Decepticon versions? Because these are all Autobots. So, are any of the teams going to be Decepticons? Is that going to upset anybody? Are they going to do like away colors as Decepticons? Yeah. But yeah, this is a cool concept. I'm glad to see that the prices are right on these, and again, like here, getting like an actual look at the size of them. It doesn't look like they're making these super tiny or anything. So good stuff. Again, not something I'm going to dive into unless again they do a Ravens, and I probably would be like, I'd probably give one to my father-in-law and be like, hey, here's your first Transformer. Probably get one. For my nephew as well, for him to keep around, because I know with my brother-in-law he's going to be raising him to be a football fan. But there you go. You can see they're up here. December 16th is the tentative date for when these are going to be coming out. So there you go. And we get some good news. We get the Omega Prime is shipping early. So the Haslab Omega Prime was originally going to be coming out this fall. We got an update. I haven't gotten anything yet. Now, granted, I probably won't because I didn't order it for myself. It was ordered for me. But I was watching Deluxe's news earlier, and he didn't get a shipping confirmation. But they're going in and they're emailing people to make their updates. So this is going to be shipping out for the U.S. and Canada at the end of this month. So days really for this to be shipping out to people. So I think most people are going to have it early May. I think I'll probably, when I get mine, I don't know how it's coming in, whether it's coming directly from Hasbro or if he's getting it and sending it to me. I'll have to check. But when I get mine, I think I'll do an unboxing video for the channel just to go over what all's in it, because I'm pretty curious. Asia is getting it in late April as well, and the Europe and the UK are getting it in early July, which is surprising because people in New Zealand got it already, and that never really was explained how all that worked. So cool to see this coming out early, and I'm sure we're going to have like an absolute deluge of reviews for this guy. But yeah, I'm excited to get Omega Prime. I said on Figure Action I was passing on this because I thought it should have been available as like, a pair of commander classes. I thought it should have been a brick and mortar release, not a Haslab, and that's why I didn't support it. But I'm very thankful to have one being gifted to me, and I'm looking forward to getting it and showing it off on the channel. Then we get some interesting new figures from Killer Body. And if you don't know who Killer Body is, they've made some of the really high-end helmets for Asian markets. They did the Bumblebee movie helmets with the Bumblebee that actually had the transforming battle mask and the voice changer and the light-up eyes. They did one for Prime. They've done some for the Bayverse movies. Like there's one for Megatron that was really cool. They're actually doing a Frenzy and Wheelie from Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, Frenzy obviously from the 2007 movie, and Wheelie from Revenge of the Fallen and the others. And yeah, these were on their Weibo site. Now, I didn't get dimensions for how big these guys are, but they're kind of, from what I can tell, they have lights. I don't know that they actually have any other electronics, but I mean, pretty cool to see them do kind of like a life-size version of Wheelie. I'm sure Frenzy will be much smaller, but no details on the prices of these yet. I'm sure they'll be pretty expensive given the price of the helmets. I think here there is dimensions. I can't read the dimensions because they're super tiny, and they're also in Chinese characters, so can't read that. But it does say here that these are going to be shown off at an event very soon, and I'm sure we'll probably see somebody on YouTube, probably like Prime versus Prime, as he gets the helmets showing these things off. And next up, we get a look at some new Cyberverse stuff. So Cyberverse stuff has been listed on Amazon, and the date for it is July 15th. And we get a look at some of the figures and their packaging, starting things off with Grimlock. And these are all the open box. This packaging really reminds me of like Imagine Next. And I think, as I mentioned before, I think that's what they're going for. I think that they're targeting like that Imagine Next audience and trying to get them interested in the Transformers. And, you know, having these really basic figures. We get a look at Snarl, which we haven't seen before, looking kind of different. This weird brown head. He kind of looks like a bull. And, yeah, very basic. He kind of looks like a Junkion dinosaur more than anything, from what I can see here. We get a look at Megatron. He's not Mega Bull anymore. He's Megatron. I do like this design quite a bit. Very basic transformations. Optimus Prime, which this one's kind of disappointing. When I saw the vehicle mode and just they didn't even bother to paint. I mean, come on, man. He's Optimus Prime. Give him the paint. Give him the paint. And also, it's kind of funny too because the waffles. He's kind of more of a pickup truck than a semi here. But again, these are supposed to be priced low. I think that they're really going after that Imagine Next audience. I do really like this Cyber Shark. It's just so goofy and a neat throwback to that one scene in Robots in Disguise. So what is going on with this tail and the head? I mean, it's storage, but pretty silly. I mean, it goes on the back, obviously. Bumblebee. And Galvatron. Galvatron turns into like some weird dragon thing. So it'll be interesting to see what this show is. I tried to give Wild King a go, and it's just so lame and cheap and goofy. I really hope they put a little bit more effort into Cyber World, but my expectations are very, very low. But, I mean, this does at least look like a decent toy line for kids. Because, again, not going to beat a dead horse here, but we do need stuff for kids to get, interested in Transformers. And next up, we also have a look at Barricade for sale. So this is the last night version of Barricade, the actual car. And this comes from the curated website where they've got a listing for the actual car, the actual Barricade from the last night. Again, last night sucked. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. But this is a you know, this is a cool looking Mustang, and Barricade was one of the cooler designs. Apparently, this is priced at $490,000. So you have to be a big mega fan to like want this. But yeah, there it is. You know. Also, too, it's just like, you know, again, if you were to pick this up, you'd have to be like careful about where you drive it, because it says police on it. There's all kinds of provisions. I feel like I read about someone who had bought one of the original trilogy Barricades, you know, got hassled driving it around. But there you go. I guess somebody with like a showroom would want this. You know, again, you'd have to be like one of those fans with like millions of dollars to want this. And there you go. It even comes with a autograph from Michael Bay. So there you go. And yeah, Megan T-Rex, I do agree. Like the designs for Cyberworld, like I get the homages, but they need more character. Like I feel like since Animated and Prime, we've just kind of had like these generic G1 throwbacks, and what we're getting needs to have more character. And that's I think what's lacking from you know, what we're seeing in you know, the current kid lines. Like I don't know, I was kind of hoping that what they would do for Transformers 1 would have taken off a little bit more. Like I feel like Transformers 1, like I really like the aesthetics after seeing the movie, but I feel like just the way Paramount failed to market the movie, and they failed to like really make it resonate with younger audiences. It just, you know, they kind of missed the opportunity. Hey, Decepticon, good to see you. Welcome on in. And we got one more for official. It's kind of our transition one from our official third party. We get a look from 3-0 at the MDLX Red Alert, because we knew that was coming. And we get to see some of the accessories he comes with. He comes with a light bar that Sideswipe didn't have, as well as the malfunctioning accessories. And he comes with the hammer and the chisel, the shoulder cannon, and the rifle. And he's looking pretty good there. I'm hopeful that Sunstreaker will get his own mold, or they'll heavily tweak it. I was also hoping that they would have done something a little bit more to give him door wings here. But I still think he looks good. I really like this stylized design they did for Sideswipe, and I think it looks really good with you know, Red Alert's deco. And so this will be one that I'm picking up. I like the fact that they're drip feeding us these. They're not overdoing it. That looks pretty darn good with Starscream there. And there he is alongside Sideswipe. It's the only picture we get of that. But Red Alert coming out very, very soon. And I'm still waiting on Jazz. I want my Jazz. I really like what they did with that design. I'm sure they'll probably do all kinds of designs for Jazz, because, you know, they can do the G2, they can do shoot. Why am I blanking on the name? They could probably get a jackpot out of there, but the Target Master version of Jazz. Why am I blanking on that name? I hate when that happens too. It's not. Damn. It'll come to me. But it's the black redeco of Jazz as the Target Master. Why, I can't think of that. But, you know, again, 3-0 likes to get their homages out. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Welcome in. Ricochet, thank you. Why I couldn't think of Ricochet is beyond me. I'll just chalk it up to like I've been outside, I've been running every day, and I get brain. I'm a 40-year-old man. I get brain fog now. All right, let's get into our third-party stuff before we have to get into tariff talk. But I'm a little bit more optimistic. Stepper or Ricochet. I think, does he go by both? I think it depends. I think it depends on the region. I think in Japan he's Stepper and he's Ricochet over here. I can never remember. We got some add-on kits. First and foremost, we've got this coming from 11S Studios, and we get some much-needed weapons for our Studio Series Sentinel Prime. So we get the swords, we get the transparent shield, and a proper blaster for him. This looks pretty good. If you don't want to go all in for the DNA kit, I think this is going to be a better option. Probably much cheaper. I know 11S, I think they sell on TF Safari, and they tend to be a little bit on the cheaper side. So if you don't want to go all in on a set with DNA, this could be a better option for you. Though for me, I think I want to see more of that DNA kit because it looks like it's going to really enhance his battle mode. And I'm just really curious what these companies are going to do. But there's an option. Mario says, did I see the comment about both Wild King and Cyber World? Let's see here. Let me go back up. What do I think that, he says, who do you think that both Cyberworld and Wild King will have a 50% chance of being poorly received and lack any kind of success? I think that Wild King probably will have more success in the Asian market. And again, I'm really curious to see what those figures are like. As I mentioned, Larkin's Lair ordered them. And I'm also curious to see how like the Japanese market reacts to them, like the Asian market as a whole, where toys are still king. I think the play pattern for Wild King looks interesting, and they're more affordable. And again, in this economy, the global economy, the yen is not doing very well. I think probably that's a smart move for Japan. Though it'll be interesting to see how it does, because if you subscribe to Bolt Matrix, and you should, Bolt's a good friend of mine. He's shot off a lot of toys from Korea, and he did he did. I gotta pull up the name of these because he had like this set of combining like they were car dinosaurs, and pull these up over on his YouTube. The Rex Kaiser. So the Mini Force Dinoid figures, right? And while these aren't Transformers or third party, like these look insane. And like they have like all the gimmicks and the posability, and they're very creative. They've got a lot of character. And I feel like if those get imported elsewhere, I can see that really resonating with kids. I think you need to have a good play pattern. You have solid, sturdy toys that kids can like beat up, abuse, and make their best friends, rather than, cheap, flimsy, it breaks within a month stuff that they forget about. We got to get off like this whole like build it like it's a dollar store toy. Like, you got to think back like when you were a kid and you had your favorite toy. I mean, your favorite toy tended to be something that held up. I think that's like what's missing. And I think doing these like kind of like bite-sized episodes with no fiction or no continuity that resonates with kids, and then also the toys not holding up, I think that's kind of a recipe for it's not a recipe for longevity, in my opinion. But I think companies are afraid to take risks. I do think Wild King probably made better, but the show is pretty awful. But again, I don't know like what the Japanese youth market is like, whether they want bite-sized stuff or not, or that's a very Americanized thing. I don't think Cyberworld's going to do well. I think maybe the toys might do okay, but I don't think it's going to do super well. I could be wrong, but they're really going to have to go after that Imaginext market. And the reason Imaginext works is because stuff like Marvel and DC is still popular and resonates, and still has fiction, and still has movies that people care about and go to see. And it's like you have those little kids that like, well, I want my own Batman, I want my own Spider-Man, I want my own this, I want my own that. And that's why Imaginext works, and it's kind of a gateway. And for Transformers, they don't have the fiction there that resonates. I mean, we're going off of G1 and the old stuff. They just don't have any current fiction, and they're not doing much to adapt like Skybound. They started to take like Skybound and like took those bones and made that into like an animated series. It doesn't have to be like HBO's Spawn, but just something to get, you know, a younger audience and a general audience interested, and then have the younger audience want to be a part of that. I think they'd have more success. But yeah, right now it's really just Skybound's the best fiction we got, and that's all we really can go with. So yeah, Skybound, Cyberworld's going to be like five and a half minutes long. You know, it's not. I don't think it's gonna be able to tell much, you know, story wise. It'll just be like a little short bursts. I imagine it being like Teen Titans Go almost. So we'll see. We'll see. Also from 11S, we've got a ion cannon and normal energon axe for your Devastation Prime. Now I know a lot of people don't like the swoosh effect on that axe. I don't really either. But if you have the easier option is if you have the Legacy G1 Optimus Prime, just give your Devastation Prime that gun. Problem solved. I'm sure there's probably going to be a lot of add-on kits for that guy to fill in some of the gaps, and you know. But I'm sure this set will be cheap, but it's probably going to not be as cheap as just getting Legacy G1 Optimus Prime and giving him that gun. This one's a little bit interesting. This comes from a company I'm not really familiar with, but Akai Studios. They're doing a replacement head for Prima Prime. And this looks pretty good. If you don't like that like hybrid G1 style Prime, there you go. And no news on how much this is going to cost, but I'm sure this is probably going to be on the cheaper side. And we also have a new company. I saw this on TFW, and they linked to the Baidu, and this is Viper Warrior XE001. No information on what scale this is. I don't know whether it's going to be Legends or if it's going to be MP scale, but they're doing their own Quick Strike. Now, TransArts did one, but unfortunately, TransArts is kind of retiring from the third-party market, which is sad. They were one of my favorite companies, but their Quick Strike wasn't the best. It was fine. I have no intention of replacing mine because I like it and it's cohesive with the rest of what's in my Beast Wars Masterpiece shelf. But they go on to say that this is expected to ship the second quarter of this year. Again, this is all translated, but they're saying that the whole section of the snake neck is movable. It seems like it's doing a bendy wire and solid joints. I'm not sure. It says there's waist rotation. And something about a linkage effect that doesn't affect the transformation. I love this translation here. The ass beast-shaped head joint is free and the placement stayed as natural. It's a really weird translation. But again, an option if you weren't into the TransArts one, or you didn't like the way that it looked. I will say this is a more detailed head sculpt. But again, I'm happy with the TransArts one. If they're doing a legend scale, I know people will be happy about that because Beast Wars Legends don't really get the attention they deserve. And if they're doing a more of a chug scale one, well, we've also got the Age of the Primes one coming, so not quite sure. I'm guessing this is probably going to be an MP scale though, but we'll keep eyes on that one. Next up, and this was posted over on TM Reviews Facebook page. If you don't follow him, give him a follow because he does a lot of good curation over there. But we get a better look at the movie 7. That's the actual name of the company. Scourge. So last week we just saw a back shot of him. And this week we get a look at him from the front and the back. That nice Energon blade that he had in the movie. The side and cleaner front profile. That looks like they actually have, I can't tell, that could be a render, but it also looks like it could be a resin prototype. So I'm not sure. That's definitely a render. We get a look at the CAD file and the truck mode, which looks to be resin. You can see he's got storage. I expected the back of the truck to kind of have to do what it had to do. I wasn't expecting like a, miracle transformation like Parakill, the Age of Extinction lockdown from Unique Toys had. This is pretty good. Even has like an opening door with a steering wheel and all. So they really, really knocked it out with this. So I'm curious to see, how these fare in hand. Because, and again, is the transformation going to be a nightmare? Is the figure going to be over-engineered? Is it going to have QC issues? These are the things you always have to look out with when it comes to third-party companies. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And this is definitely a new company to follow because I'm liking what they're doing with these designs. I just hope that they deliver. Then, as I mentioned, this is one of the Botcon exclusives. We get a shot of the Spectre General, which is a Diaclone / Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus. This is the X-Transbot stack figure, which, from what I've heard, is a really good figure. And you get to see him with his Shattered Glass head and the Universe-style sword. And this looks really good. I love that they paired him up with the MPG Shattered Glass Jetfire and Prime. These look really good together. And seeing this makes me pretty tempted. So I'm sure they'll have leftovers if after the convention they happen to put any on sale. I might be tempted, but yeah, I love the fact that they're sharing these pictures and kind of drip feeding it to the community and generating some hype because when it comes to again, you can say what you will about X-Transbots. I do not hate X-Transbots. My good buddy Mike Junkie on Crafts and Builds, he's a fan of X-Transbots, or at least he was when he was still collecting Transformers. I know he's moving more into the G.I. Joe realm. But, I feel like the company is so close to greatness a lot of the time. And when they do deliver, they can make really good products. So, I know Keith's not listening, but if he was, it'd be like, just, hone your craft a little bit more, You're starting to put those QC stickers on your figures, but actually have it mean something because you could actually be a real competitor with other third-party companies. I know people are liking their Constructicons. I heard the quality of those is really good, so hopefully that carries on throughout the course of the set. And I'm hoping that this actually comes out great because I really like that head sculpt. I like the fact they've taken their time. They redesigned the head sculpt. They put in some good engineering. The jaw's movable. Including that sword as an accessory is pretty awesome. And I know this thing's actually got a voice box in it as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if this thing delivers. And I'm curious to see some reviews. And then on top of X-Transbots, their Gravedigger, their scavenger figure, he's got a dedicated ab crunch. So here they are showing that off. And we looked at it in ARM mode last week. But, again, I like the fact that they're engaging more with the community and showing off their figures and showing off some of the articulation. And this is a really good looking version. I think this looks better than the Fans Toys by a mile. So, again, they just need to keep that quality on the upswing. Then from Planet Steel Express, they're the distributor for Mastermind Creations. We get a look at their Stray alternative version, which is the Infinite Infinity Drift. This is the normal production run, and we get a look at some of the things he comes with that the first run didn't, which is this gun. And you can see the spoiler gun. He looks really good with that. I also like that extra deco on the swords. Like, I'm really liking this. I know earlier I was like, I don't really know how I feel about the red windshield, but non-renders, like this picture here, this looks phenomenal. And he also comes with the cloak. So if you wanted him to have that look, there you go. So I'm looking forward to this, and I really, really liked the initial D version. I'm probably gonna pop the alternate head on that when I get this. So I'll have the concept art drift, like concept art G1 drift, and then more of an IDW Earthmere drift, because this just looks phenomenal. I'm hoping that I get the red windshield, because I really, really like that. And Mega T-Rex for all saying, I usually like the X-Transbot's design better than the Fanboy, Springer, and Cyclonus. Yeah, the Springer Springer was pretty good, especially the effects part he came with for spinning the sword. I thought that was great. And I had their Cyclonus before getting the Fans Toys one, and it's an actually really good mold. And Mario's saying that really one updated of Drift from IDW by Hasbro if they do it. I think they could and they should. I mean, Age of the Primes is great because they can do anything from any line, and it would be cool to see more comic universe stuff. Aquateki saying, I like the articulation of Shovel. I do too. I think that again they're doing some good stuff with their Constructicons, and I just I want more options. I think when you have good options, healthy options, competition out there, it's good for consumers, because iron sharpens iron, and that's what we need. Then also, this was posted by Dame Shock, and it looks like Ventus Blades, the final member of the MMC Protectobots, should be shipping very soon. We got inbox photo and a very, very finished looking robot, and we just looked at him a week ago. But hopefully this means he'll be shipping out very soon. And then we get into the fun discussion. I saw this earlier, and Fans Hobby made this post. I love Fans Hobby, but they're making a post saying that due to the tariff issue, we are on hold to take orders from the U.S. at the moment. Shall update you on the delivery arrangement again beginning May 2025. Sorry for the inconvenience caused. And, this has been kind of a very touchy issue for a lot of people. I've been trying to stay optimistic about it because, again, I don't talk politics on here. We're not going to get into the politics whether you lean left or right. We're not getting into that. I've kind of remained optimistic that a lot of these trade negotiations were going to basically get settled. I saw Vietnam was one of the first ones to come to the table, and there's a lot of history with China and trade. We got a statement from Trump earlier today stating that tariffs will drop substantially, but it won't be zero. Obviously, they're going to have some tariffs on there. And obviously Vietnam came to the table first and opened up trade. I think that everything got lowered to in about 10%. And Vietnam's where a lot of stuff is made these days. A lot of the figures that we get are made there. So the main line, a lot of the Masterpiece stuff has moved there. I was talking to some of the guys in the Con Bros chat that even the movie Masterpiece moved from China to Vietnam. Nintendo moved a lot of their stuff to Vietnam, though. Again, if you want the gaming discussions on this, go to Gronking Gaming. Again, link in the description below. We cover it there. My fear is some of these companies are going to get greedy. We'll get into that in a second, because none of this stuff's really gone into effect. It's not even May yet. But they talked about this at the news conference at the White House today, basically stating that high tariffs and goods from China are going to come down substantially, but it won't be zero. Again, I'm curious what's going to happen, but they're talking about de-escalation. Already, smartphones and computers and several chips, they've exempted those tariffs. I'm sure other goods will as well. We got a update from the Treasury Secretary today, stating that de-escalation's coming, and the U.S. and India have progressed on a trade deal. India and China are allies. You've heard of BRICS. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. We're allied with you know, almost half of them. And I think a lot of this is just posturing and saber rattling. And I'm pretty confident that, the markets know that they depend on one another and they don't want to feel the pain. I don't think either of them want to feel the pain. And I think they know how many businesses this would impact, both in the US and China. You have a lot of independent businesses, you have a lot of retailers, you have a lot of voter bases that would be angry if they can't get the goods that they want. I mean, you've seen it happen with Nintendo. Again, I know I said I'd save the gaming talk for Bronking, but you've even seen Nintendo raise the price of Amiibo up to $40. And Amiibo already were insanely marked up when they were revealed in 2014. Here, this is a Jack-specific Mario movie figure, Luigi, and he was $10. And an RFID chip is very inexpensive. You can sell an RFID chip for next to nothing, and they have, and people make NFT cards to replace Amiibo. And I talk about Amiibo because Nintendo is a big company, and Nintendo is a company that everybody should aspire to be because they have no debt. Toy companies like Hasbro can't say the same, but there's a level of greed. What I worry about is a lot of these companies, a lot of stores prematurely raise their prices, and a lot of people aren't keen on what's going on. And I go back to say that a lot of this is saber rattling to negotiate for fair trade. Again, I'm not going to get into whether or not I think it was the right approach or not, but I feel like there's been a lot of reaction, and a lot of people just have gotten emotional about things. And I think people have, been a bit pessimistic. And, if you go over to BBTS, which here, we'll do, certain goods already, they have, even Super 7, prices, listed price excluded tariff surcharges. And, again, they don't even know they're baking it in. But, you do have some places that have automatically gone through and just raised their prices, in anticipation of it. And I think just the kind of the best thing to do is just kind of keep a cool head, see how things play out. And, patience saves pockets. I don't want any small retailers to go out. I really enjoy Nerdzoic. Again, talking to, Junkion Crafts and Builds, he's gotten to know him, and he runs a good store, All Time Toys. I like to support them when I go out to where they are. And I really don't want there to be a lot of pain for independent businesses or retailers. But I think this is going to get worked out, because I think they know how much is riding on this and how much people are panicking, and panicking base is not a good thing. And I think, again, China knows that, they make a lot of our goods, and it's not going to be good for them. And I've seen people in China, who run businesses who are worried about this and worried about the impact, because America consumes far more of their goods than anybody else. And, I'm pretty optimistic that a lot of this is going to get worked out in the next several days. And I think we'll see a bit of stuff reverse course. And I am hopeful that, people calm down. I probably will bring on some people in the near future, because I worry about the longevity of third party, because I think one of the things that's been talked about in trade war is, and it's not just toys, it's not just Transformers, but intellectual property theft is a problem. And, the bulk of my collection is third party, and the bulk of what I love in my collection is third party. And I kind of wonder if, and I think Transformers will probably be safe, because really when they go after IP theft, it's Disney, it's Marvel, Gundam. Gundam is a huge thing they crack down on in China. Transformers, again, it's kind of a double-edged sword. The brand isn't as popular as it once was, so it's probably not going to be under as big of a microscope. But I feel like, well, if they really start to tamp down on IP theft, are they going to go after third-party companies? And we're going to see issues there. So that's going to be something to look out for. But I'm very optimistic that in the next few days, because again, May's coming up. None of this stuff's gone into effect. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, or actually either last week or the week before, that Toy Spotlight was talking about how this probably won't really have too big of an impact, and how are they even going to enforce it? It's a lot of stuff coming through the ports. How are they going to collect on it? It's going to be a mess if they don't figure it out, and it's going to hurt a lot of people. So, again, I do think we need fair trade, but I also don't. I think that the negotiations are going to happen. Kentucky saying, I didn't know that they're still making Amiibos are still being sold. Yeah, Amiibos are still being sold. Nintendo just kind of likes to drip feed them, and there's an issue with them where they kind of have made it more of something for the secondary market. The whole Toys to Life thing kind of fizzled out, and Nintendo's the only one still doing it. And the Switch 2 is going to have Amiibo support, and they announced a whole bunch of Street Fighter ones, but I don't know anybody that's going to be paying $40 per Amiibo. Because again, as I mentioned, at $12, they were too expensive. At $15, they were too expensive. And now the base price is bumping up to $30. And the specialty ones like Street Fighter, they're bumping up to $40. Who's going to pay $40 for a little plastic figurine? But again, like a company like Jazzwares makes this for $10, makes a profit. This is far more detailed than a non-articulated plastic figurine with a little chip in the bottom. I mean, come on, they could make them for $15, and even with the tariffs, they could still make a ton of money. And the Amiibos aren't even made primarily in China. Some are made in China, but they're made in Japan and Vietnam as well. So there's no, my worry is that some of these companies are going to get greedy, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, and they're going to price themselves out of existence. And I don't think that's the right approach. That's something to patience saves pockets. And again, pay attention to what's actually going on and what they agree on. Don't let companies, rip you off. Like, if they up their prices too much, don't give in to paying it. Hey, Firetox, good to see you. And Princeton coming in saying, these companies will not lower prices after when the tariffs are done. Yeah, and again, that's and Firetalk saying the same. You really have to just vote with your wallet, make them know that they can't charge what they want to charge. I mean, I keep saying, go check out Gronkin Gaming. Go check out Gronkin Gaming. I plan on getting a Switch 2 at launch. And I do plan on doing an unboxing for Gronkin Gaming. I really want the Donkey Kong game, but I'm not going nuts. I'm not getting a ton of accessories. I just really want Mario Kart World. I want the Donkey Kong game, and I'm a huge Metroid fan. I need Metroid Prime 4. Even though it's coming on a regular Switch, I need the Switch 2 version. But I think it's going to be a 3DS scenario where, remember, the 3DS came out. We were still coming out of a recession when the 3DS came out. And people were feeling the pain from the whole housing bubble, and Nintendo got greedy. They charged $350 for the 3DS back in 2011, and I got one at launch because I'm a Nintendo guy. And then they lowered the price significantly after the initial sales weren't there, and lowered the prices because people voted with their wallet. And I will say I'm not always going to be the one to vote with my wallet. I do definitely want the Switch 2 for some reasons. Again, I also, want to talk about it on a show that I'm on, but I'm also not going to lie to you all and say I'm not a big Nintendo fan. And, definitely I talked to my wife about it, and, she's like, yeah, she said to me, during the reveal, is there going to be a new Switch in our house? I was like, yes. So, she's on board with it, and I'm excited for it, but I know it's probably not going to set the world on fire. And I definitely think more people need to vote with their wallets so you can course correct. But I'm also admitting I'm part of the problem there. But I'm not buying $40 Amiibo. That's not happening. If it was like a 3-pack, sure, but not for a single, especially not for Street Fighter. In fact, I think I'm kind of done with Amiibo because I have all of the ones for The whole reason I even started collecting this, I wanted the Smash Brothers trophies, and now I have the whole set of Smash Brothers trophies, and I got the Zelda ones. I got all the Zelda, because they don't make too many Zelda figures, and the Metroid stuff. So I'm happy with what I have. In fact, I still need to get my shelves up. I actually went in the garage and I found my shelves. I'm gonna get those up this weekend, I think, so I can finally have my amiibo on display. So when I do the collection tour, they'll be there in my my entertainment center in the basement. So, again, I'm optimistic that by next show, I'm not going to put any money. I'm not going to make any bets, but I bet by next show. So by the 29th, it's going to be the 29th of April. Yeah, the 29th of April. I think they'll probably have this figured out, or they'll be in the final stages of negotiating this, and we won't see any of the. I mean, we probably will see like a 10% surcharge on things. But again, just be mindful of what things are supposed to cost. Do the math, and don't let domestic sites normalize this. Because, I mean, there's already markups on some of the domestic sites. Agabus is one of the best sites. Agabus and Toy Dojo are the two that I roll with. Agabus, he not only price matches, but for whatever reason, there's no tax on Agabus. So I rock with Agabus domestically. Toy Dojo is great. Eddie's good people. Pake's great people. They always take care of me. They don't mark their stuff up, but like I see markups on BBTS, not that bad, but TF Source, the Chosen Prime, especially with their shipping. Chosen Prime is probably one of the worst. Like, just again, like, don't get into parasocial relationships with domestic sellers. That's another thing too. You go to people that treat you well and give you good deals. And yeah, there's a difference between a small business having to charge a little bit more to stay in business and getting extorted. So just be wise, know what you're dealing with. Don't pay more than you should. And, when it comes to stuff, be competitive. Like, I'd love to give more domestic sites my business, but just the fact that we're marking things up, I had to go to places like TF Safari, Show Z, Alpha Toyland. I had to because in Amazon Japan, because it just the domestic sites were pricing me out. It's kind of rough. So again, as a consumer, you gotta shop competitively too. So, but I still do recommend supporting the little guys that support you. Still are being smart about how they're making money, all for good service. I'll pay a little bit more for good service, but I won't pay a lot more to get taken advantage of. So there's my rant and ramble about tariffs and the sites, and just kind of being wise with you. Maybe I'll do like a scripted video and go through and talk about it. Hopefully, again, next week, if they wrap things up, maybe I'll do like a zeroed in discussion, just kind of talking about my thoughts and feelings and have them a bit more organized and put together rather than talking off the cuff. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. So thanks to everybody who popped into the chat. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show something. Because this one's for Princeton. Because, I meant to show this back when we were going over the NFL crossover. But I had an idea for a custom. He's a Commanders fan. But wouldn't this be the perfect custom for Shattered Glass Deluxe? I feel at $24.99, he needs to have one in his collection. We need to get like one of the we get that company that's making the replacement head for Prime to do a Matthew Deluxe Baldwin head for what was it, was it Starback or something? What was he called? Maybe even like make a shattered glass packaging for it. I know Deluxe would probably like, you got too much damn time on your hands, Zero. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. So thanks to everybody who hung out tonight, popped up in the chat. It's always good to hang out with you guys, talk Transformers. If you haven't already, and you like tonight's episode, smash that like button because it helps me out in the algorithm. And if you're not already subscribed, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell. So when I put up extra content on the channel, you can stay in the loop. And if you like what I'm doing over here, be a friend, tell friends. I like having more people who are involved in conversation. If you're watching me on the replay squad, let me know if there's anything that you're excited about that we showed off tonight, anything cool that you picked up this week, and how are you feeling about the whole tariff situation? And are you optimistic that things are going to get better? Again, I just kind of have this suspicion that come next week, it's all going to be simmering down and cooler heads will have prevailed and we'll all be in a better headspace about it. So with that, that's going to wrap up tonight's episode. I hope you all have a great week ahead, and I will see you all next Tuesday at 9 Eastern, right here on 0 Hour. This is Zero Out, and I'll see you all in the next one.